In a move that has shaken the very core of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis has officially resigned, marking the end of his remarkable papacy. This decision comes as a surprise to many, especially after years of his leadership, which has been defined by a focus on compassion, outreach, and reform. For the Catholic community around the world, this moment signals a deep change, not only in leadership, but also in direction. As Pope Francis steps down, the Church is faced with the transition of power to a new figure, one who has not only earned respect within the Church, but also outside of it. Cardinal Luis Tagle, affectionately known as the Smiling Cardinal, has now ascended to the papacy, becoming Pope Tagle. This monumental shift is one that will undoubtedly change the future of the Catholic Church. Tagle's rise to the papacy is more than just an appointment. It's a representation of hope, social justice, and the modern face of Catholicism. His journey from the bustling streets of Manila to the highest position in the Catholic Church is not just inspiring, but a testament to his commitment to serving humanity and spreading love, compassion, and understanding. With this shift in leadership, the Church is now moving forward with a leader who is deeply rooted in the values of community service and has always advocated for the marginalized, the oppressed, and the voiceless. Pope Francis's resignation, a historic event. Pope Francis's resignation comes as a historical moment. It has been years since the Catholic Church saw a papal resignation, making this event all the more significant. His resignation marks the end of a papacy that has pushed boundaries and redefined the role of the Pope. His leadership emphasized empathy, inclusivity, and outreach, especially toward the marginalized in society. Under his leadership, the Church took steps toward rethinking its stance on many issues, including its approach to refugees, the LGBTQ+ community, and social justice. Many saw Pope Francis as a progressive leader who was deeply committed to addressing the real-world issues of poverty, inequality, and climate change. However, despite his progressive vision, Pope Francis also faced significant challenges throughout his papacy, from dealing with the ongoing sexual abuse scandal to the struggles of maintaining unity in the global Church. His resignation, while surprising, does not diminish the profound impact he has had on the Catholic Church. In fact, it opens the door for a new chapter, one in which the Church can continue to evolve and meet the challenges of the modern world. Cardinal Luis Tagle's rise to the papacy. With the resignation of Pope Francis, the mantle of leadership has now passed to Cardinal Luis Tagle. Born in 1957 in Manila, Philippines, Tagle's ascent to the papacy has been nothing short of remarkable. Coming from humble beginnings, he grew up in a deeply religious family in the heart of the Philippines. His early years were shaped by the vibrant culture and community life of Manila, and it was within this environment that he developed a strong sense of faith and an even stronger desire to serve others. Tagle's path to the papacy began with his education. He attended Ateneo de Manila University, where he earned degrees in philosophy and theology. It was during this time that Tagle began to understand the delicate balance between the traditional teachings of the Church and the needs of a rapidly changing world. His thirst for knowledge led him to pursue further studies in sacred theology in Rome, where he honed his understanding of Catholicism and its role in addressing contemporary societal issues. But it wasn't just his academic credentials that set Tagle apart. His pastoral work has been at the heart of his mission. As a priest, Tagle was known for his deep empathy, warmth, and humility. His ability to connect with people on a personal level earned him the affectionate title of the Smiling Priest. Whether in his home diocese of Manila or across the world, Tagle's commitment to the faithful was evident in everything he did. He was not content to simply preach from the pulpit. He wanted to live out the gospel message through action. In 2011, Tagle was appointed as the Archbishop of Manila, one of the most significant and influential positions in the Catholic Church, particularly in Asia. His leadership in Manila showed his deep commitment to social justice and the poor. He worked tirelessly to address the needs of those most in need, advocating for the rights of the oppressed and marginalized communities. Vision of a Church for the Modern World. When Pope Benedict XVI appointed Tagle as a cardinal in 2012, It was a recognition of his potential to bring change to the global church. At just 55 years old, Tagle became one of the youngest cardinals in church history. His elevation to the cardinalate was a sign of the church's desire to embrace a new generation of leadership, one that balanced the church's rich traditions with the pressing challenges of the modern world. As a cardinal, Tagle continued to push for reform within the church. He worked closely with the Vatican's Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, focusing on revitalizing the church's outreach, particularly in parts of the world where Catholicism was struggling to maintain relevance. He also became a key voice on issues of family, social justice, and the environment. His leadership extended far beyond the confines of his diocese or country, and he became a global figure in the church's efforts to address poverty, inequality, and human dignity. One of the defining characteristics of Cardinal Tagle's leadership has been his emphasis on inculturation, the adaptation of the Catholic faith to local cultures. He believes that the Church must remain relevant to the communities it serves, and that requires embracing diverse cultural contexts and practices. Under his guidance, the Church has worked to integrate indigenous traditions and languages into worship, making the faith more accessible and meaningful to people around the world. The shift in church leadership and its global impact. Pope Francis's resignation and the ascension of Cardinal Tagle to the papacy represent a significant shift in the Catholic Church's leadership. This moment signals the end of an era characterized by Pope Francis's focus on reform and outreach, and the beginning of a new era under Pope Tagle, one that promises to be defined by innovation, inclusivity, and social justice. Pope Tagle's leadership is expected to bring a renewed focus on the global church's role in addressing contemporary issues. From climate change to poverty, from the plight of refugees to the call for greater interfaith dialogue, Pope Tagle's leadership will likely push the Church to engage more actively with the world around it. His deep commitment to social justice and the poor has already been demonstrated in his advocacy for marginalized communities, and his emphasis on compassion and empathy will likely continue to shape the direction of the Church. Moreover, Pope Tagle's leadership will also be marked by a commitment to renewing the Church's approach to its role in the world. Under his guidance, the Church will likely continue to evolve and adapt, addressing not only spiritual concerns, but also the practical, real-world needs of its followers. Whether it's through disaster relief, human rights advocacy, or global outreach programs, Pope Tagle's leadership is poised to make a lasting impact on the Church's relationship with society at large. A new chapter for the Catholic Church. As the Catholic Church enters this new chapter, under Pope Tagle's leadership, it's clear that the Church will continue to face both challenges and opportunities. The Church's role in the modern world is constantly evolving, and Pope Tagle's ascension to the papacy signals a commitment to addressing these challenges head-on. His journey from the streets of Manila to the papacy is a testament to the power of faith, service, and compassion. It is a story that resonates with people around the world, particularly those who are looking for a church that understands their struggles and is committed to working alongside them for a better future. As the dust settles on Pope Francis's resignation and the world looks to the future of the Catholic Church, one thing is certain: Pope Tagle's leadership will be marked by innovation, compassion, and a deep commitment to the service of others. His papacy promises to be one that challenges old traditions while embracing the needs of the modern world. Whether in his efforts to combat poverty, address environmental concerns, or advocate for the rights of migrants and refugees, Pope Tagle's leadership offers a vision of a church that is deeply rooted in the teachings of Christ, but is also deeply engaged with the issues of the world today. The future of the Catholic Church under Pope Tagle is an exciting one. Will his leadership usher in a new era of reform and renewal? Will the Church's mission to serve the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed take on even greater